Hey everyone, Larry Walsh here for Channelnomics and the Margins. I'm coming to you from Orlando, Florida, where I spent the last couple of days working and hanging out with, a couple of hundred of the best partners in the world. They really have an optimistic outlook about, about their prospects, and the opportunities that they're diving into. Something I've been thinking about, and I just wrote a piece on Channelnomics about it, is the shift towards platforms. And a lot of vendors, particularly SaaS vendors, are really steering into this concept. Now, what I mean by a platform is not the traditional definition. Traditionally, a platform is a foundational technology on which other technologies build on top of. This is the entire relationship between operating systems and ISVs. In the contemporary context, platforms are vendors that are accumulating more and more products and capabilities that complement each other to provide the customers with a one-stop shop for whatever resources that they need. Um, and they call it a platform because they want it to be more of that single pane of glass, if you will, which the customers can get almost everything they need. And now this is not a bad idea because from the platform concept comes the flywheel effect. And that flywheel effect is that once the customer buys something, they will buy another thing and another thing and another thing, and then it will just become a steady, predictable revenue stream. Um, Again, I think that this is a good concept. It's a good idea, and one of the things that customers do want, they want simplicity. They want to have better ease of use. They want to have, the one throat to choke when purchasing. However, there is a downside to this, and that downside is complacency. Like two of my favorite books I've read this year. One is Enshittification by Cory Doctorow, and the other one is The Age of Extraction by Tim Wu. Now, these two books are different, but they talk about the same issue, and they have the same critique of this entire shift towards platforms. And what the both authors, warn about is that we could actually make things worse for customers, worse for tech users than making it better. And that's the trap that I worry about with platforms is that too many companies are banking on increasing the cost and not just the cost of the products, but the cost of switching or switching cost. And in doing so, they run the risk of becoming complacent because if it's too painful for the customer to lift and shift to another platform or to another provider, then they don't need to work as hard. And the thing about the customers is that the customers do have higher expectations for the value that they receive. And several customers and partners that I've talked with about this, and they've shared the same thing, is that they're seeing costs for software licenses or consumption increase, but they're not seeing a corresponding value that direction. And they think that the vendors are just trying to grab as much money as they can. Not all vendors. There are many out there that are conscientious about this, and they are doing a good job of delivering on that expectation of customer experience and value. But there are some out there that are leaning into this, and in fact, they'll say that they know that their platforms aren't ready, but they'll work towards it. They'll get there. In the meantime, the costs do go up, and so this is a real problem. And we need to be mindful of it because the customer does get a vote in this. And if the customers vote on this, the partners will vote on this. And we can't afford to see them migrate away from vendors unnecessarily when there really is good value in these platforms. You can read more about this in the blog that's posted on Channelnomics. And then if you want to hear more about it, look at the other resources we have at Channelnomics as well. Well, look, that's about all the time I have for this edition of In the Margins. If you like what we're doing here, hit like, hit subscribe, tell your friends. Also, check out our other podcasts, Changing Channels and the Network Effect, as well as all the best practices, research, and services we offer at Channelnomics. Until next time, I'm Larry Walsh.